Welcome to WD Sports Lounge. All right, before we go on with the show, I just wanted to let you know that we are working on our audio system. We're trying to make sure that our quality is up to par for all the subscribers that have subscribed to this show. We owe you that much because you take the time to subscribe, you take the time to listen to the content, and we want to make sure that we take the time to make sure the content not only has valuable information, but it's great on the ears and somewhat decent on the vision. We'll be working on the vision as well, but one thing at a time as we grow to potentially a sports giant media, which is the goal down the line 5 to 10 years from now. But the only way we could build a village is if we have the people put together. So you are the people, and I thank you so much for subscribing to this channel, and I thank you for so much for keeping me motivated to continue to drop content for this channel. Let's build the community brick by brick, layer by layer, and everyone that's subscribed to this channel, you are a part of this building foundation. So big ups to you, and thank you so much for your subscriptions. Now let's get to the topic at hand, which is the top 100 list of the best NBA players of all time, presented by Bleacher's report. And the biggest uproar and the backlash that Bleacher's report has been getting, which deservedly so, they do deserve, is the fact that they left Kobe Bryant out of the top 10 list. And a lot of people have been outraged about it. A lot of fans, a lot of commentators, basketball heads, and even basketball players. There are some basketball players that are actually trying to pretty much defend why the Bleachers Report put Kobe at 11, and there are most players that are pushing back on it. But at the same time, the Bleachers Report also had put an article as to why they were explaining their position of why they picked Kobe Bryant at 11. And like I said, there was a lot of people that have different opinions about that selection, and I'm going to give my opinion myself. Now, before I break down my opinion, I'm going to give you a little backstory of myself as far as being a fan and where I stand as far, from giving my opinion. I really don't have a bias. The only thing I may be biased about is the team that I follow, which is the Miami Heat. But as far as players go, I'm not biased towards any player because I'm not really a fan of an individual player. I am a fan of the game. So therefore, the individual player, the organization, and the game itself comes a part of all one thing, the game itself. So I'm not a Kobe Bryant fan. When I was watching the NBA, Kobe Bryant was one of the players that I really couldn't stand. But let me explain. It wasn't anything personal about Kobe Bryant. Even with the situation in Colorado, I didn't ever looked at it as such. It was news. It was part of it's a personal situation, and it did make the headlines, and it did tarnish his legacy. But for me, that wasn't a measuring stick, so to speak, to measure what Kobe Bryant meant to the NBA, nor his positioning as the top players of the NBA. The reason why I hated Kobe Bryant is because as a fan of the Miami Heat, Kobe Bryant's Lakers always defeated my Miami Heat. And at the time when Kobe Bryant was reigning supreme in the NBA, the Miami Heat were also in playoff and NBA championship contention. At the time, we had Big Diesel, Shaq, and a young Dwayne Wade was leading the team to playoff appearances, championship appearances, and championship wins. And Kobe Bryant was coming off a three-peat with Shaquille O'Neal in Los Angeles. So by the time Shaq left the Lakers and came to Miami, I had something to cheer for, because finally I felt like the odds are finally even, and we could finally see Kobe Bryant not compete against someone that is well, not Kobe Bryant, but my team can compete against someone as of Kobe Bryant's stature. And the game between the Lakers and the Heat on Christmas Day, when Kobe and Dwayne Wade was actually playing against each other, it was a great game, because Kobe was considered the best player at the time, and Dwayne Wade was on the verge of winning his first NBA scoring title, which he lost to LeBron James for whatever reason, but we're not going to talk about that. We're pretty much going to say, but basically that's the reason why I didn't like Kobe, because Kobe was such a fierce competitor, and he would always beat my team and always stop my team from reaching where they needed to reach, or any team for that matter. I mean, let's face it, when it comes to a player that keeps winning, you want to see when they're going to lose. You don't really have a admiration about that player unless he's on your team or after he's done playing. I felt the same way about Tom Brady. Tom Brady played for the New England Patriots, and I am a Miami Dolphin fan, and he, for 20 years he kicked our butts, and I hated I hated him as well. I hated Tom Brady up until he left New England and went to Tampa. When he went to Tampa and played with the Buccaneers, I was cheering for him in that Super Bowl. But just to give you a perspective of why I hated these guys, because these guys were so good, winning was always expected of them. You knew they were going to win. So it's like, you cheer for the underdog, you know what I mean? America loves the underdog, so that's why I was always cheering for the underdog when it came to those players playing. Michael Jordan, he was an exception because his game was so sweet to watch, and yeah, you love to hate him, but at the same time you can't hate him because it was Michael Jordan. But now that y'all have an understanding perspective as to why I didn't like Kobe Bryant, I'm here today to defend Kobe Bryant. Bleacher's Report is a company that's been around for a while. I've followed them for a while. I consume a lot of their content, and I consume a lot of their information. That's usually where I get my sports analysis and updates and different perspective from different creators and stuff like that. So I consumed Bleacher's Report a lot, and based on what they were putting out there with honest analyzations of games and players, I truly became a follower. And I even made a profile, and I used to comment along with other commenters and commentators and fans that are commenting in the comment sections as well. But man, with this list right here, and the Bleacher's Report has really, really, really damaged their credibility when it comes to analyzing the true value of what NBA analytics it comes down to. Bleacher's Report, after getting all the backlash that they did from putting Kobe Bryant 11, they tried to explain themselves and their position as to why Kobe Bryant was put on the 11th spot. And I read a few of the lines, and I couldn't continue to read it anymore because it was just BS after BS after BS. And I'm like to myself, yo, Bleacher's Report, for as credible and for as prestigious as your name is in the sports world, shame on you for putting out this garbage ass list and this garbage ass explanation. You're trying to nitpick and cherry pick longevity and scoring and why this and why that. Are you stupid? Are you serious? We are not stupid. What you're trying to do pretty much is devalue what Kobe meant to the NBA when he was playing, and trying to poison the young minds of the new fans that are watching the NBA that probably don't get a chance to watch the highlights and the backlog of the NBA games, but are actually trying to understand. They're getting the content from outlets like this. So with Bleacher's Report saying something like this, I feel like they're spewing out poison to to confuse and throw misconceptions about what really happened. And I'm a fan of the game, and what really happened is nothing close to what Bleacher's Report was explaining, nor accurate of their poll. Kobe Bryant was the closest thing to Michael Jordan that we had when he was playing. Kobe was efficient in scoring. He was a dog in defense, and he was one hell of a leader when he played with the Lakers. Now, the only thing was, I know, and the reason why Kobe didn't get the love that Jordan got was because of the scandal of the Colorado situation. And from a public perspective, he would never get that love and admiration that Michael Jordan got. That's why Kobe is more looked down upon than Michael Jordan. But you know, you had different personalities. They had the same drive and same work ethic, but they were different personalities. Kobe was respectful to the media, but at the same time, Kobe wasn't going to smile in your face and tell you something that you wanted to hear. Kobe told you like it is, you know, and a lot of media personnels that rubbed on them the wrong way. They didn't like it, and you know, some of them to this day still has an agenda to bash Kobe Bryant. And you know, based off personal and personality than his actual game. But this is what this list is for. This list was based on his actual game, and to witness what Kobe Bryant did in his actual game, winning 5 championships, and leading teams that possibly didn't have the talent to get to the championship, says a lot about why he should be ranked within the top 10. And Bleacher's Report, one of their reasoning for keeping Kobe Bryant out of the top 10 was his lack of MVPs. Well, first off, there's one player that got 2 MVPs when Kobe Bryant should have got at least one of them. That's not even part of the top 10. And that's Steve Nash. But nobody's talking about that situation because nobody's talking about Steve Nash. Steve Nash was a great player, don't get me wrong, but he wasn't an MVP. He shouldn't have. There's an argument to be said that his MVPs are not merit. I think it's more of fatigue why he would get one over Shaq or Duncan, and I think it was trying to prop up Steve Nash to be a top superstar. So, in other words, to put him over Kobe Bryant to win the MVP, that would put him in a situation where the tier level is that. But the problem with that is that Steve Nash didn't close the deal. He didn't lead his teams to the championship. He couldn't get past Kobe Bryant's Lakers. So the argument is kind of flawed right there when it comes to, because this player has more MVPs than the other one, or MVPs is the reason why Kobe Bryant is off the top 10. It debunks the argument right then and there, because there's players that have more MVPs than Kobe Bryant that are not even in the top. That are not even in the top 10. So you explaining it you explaining it in that sense of MVPs doesn't make sense at all. Basically, it's something personal. And earlier today, I was able to watch a video from Dreamers Pro. And shout outs to Dreamers Pro. Make sure y'all follow his channel. I follow him a lot. He gives a lot of great insight, and his opinions are very resourceful, so to speak. And, he's one of my inspirations as well, as why I started. But shout outs to him. Yeah, he had a video talking about how another commentator that he reacted to, giving us somewhat of an explanation as to why Bleacher's Report was so off the mark with their analysis as to why Kobe Bryant was not part of the top 10. And it could be and it sounds like it's agenda driven, because the article, the reactor I'm sorry. Yeah, the commentator, NBA commentator that Dreamers Pro was reacting to was saying that he had a nice graph and of the breakdown of how the Bleachers Report was connected to LeBron and his companies. And when I saw this and I heard Dreamers Pro's response, it only made sense that there's a campaign out there to diminish Kobe Bryant to prop up LeBron James, because LeBron James' company was or is in partnership with Bleacher's Report. And it only makes sense that if you're partners with somebody, you're not going to trash your partner in public. But what happens with that is that Bleacher's Report has been around long enough to put themselves in a compromising position, because you're not being authentically honest about your list, but you making an article, an argument about Kobe Bryant being the best player in his time. You got to watch your posts and you got to watch your content, and you got to make sure that what you're saying is consistent if you want your credibility to be validated. Just a few years ago, the Bleachers Report ranked Kobe Bryant the best player in the world while LeBron James was still playing. And we're talking about what? 2010? That was 10 years ago, 15 years ago. What has happened in the last 15 years that would make LeBron James jump to number 2 and Kobe to number 11? Right. Well, 2010s, LeBron James won between 2010 and 2020. He won 4 championships. I get that. And Kobe at this point had won his last championship. By 2010. He had already won his 5 championships. So at this point, from this point until Kobe retired, he was dealing with a lot of injuries. He was dealing with teammates leaving, coming in, stuff. We weren't sure, and they weren't sure of the future of Phil Jackson. Just a lot of stuff that was going on between that time. But between 2010 and 2020, LeBron James came to Miami. He had his stack team, and they went on. And LeBron, between 2010 and 2020, LeBron James went on a championship run of eight final appearances and won 5. If I'm not, yeah, 5. I'm sorry, 4. He won 4. He won 4 championships between 2010 and 2020. And the only problem with that is that within those, 2 of them, Kobe had won championships in the West, and he was playing teams in the West that were the top tier teams in the whole NBA. We're talking about Dirk Nowitzki's Dallas Mavs. We're talking about Steve Nash and the Phoenix Suns with Amari Stoudemire. We're talking about Tim Duncan with Manu and Tony Parker. We're talking about the Sacramento Kings at one point that were with Chris Webber and Mike Bibby. I mean, the fine Kevin Durant with James Harden, with a young James Harden and a young Russell Westbrook. Of course, Kevin Durant was young as well. But just the tier of the teams that Kobe was playing and defeating en route of the championship, compared to LeBron James. When LeBron James went from 2010 to 2018, I think there were teams I recall there were teams heading to the playoffs with losing records. Let me repeat that once again. The 8th seed of the Eastern Conference had records below 500 that were in the playoffs. So that lets you know the tier of competition that LeBron James actually had to play against. With LeBron James having at least 5 to 6 all-stars in his team, on his teams at the time. the road to winning a championship was much more difficult with Kobe Bryant than it was with LeBron James. Hell, LeBron James, when he was with Cleveland, played against a number one seed, the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks, who won over 60 games throughout the regular season. Their starting five, if I'm not mistaken, made it to the All-Stars. And LeBron James gets to the Eastern Conference Finals and sweeps the Atlanta Hawks out of the playoffs. So it lets you know how fraudulent the East was when it came to competition. So the competition was nowhere near that. So where at this point do you put LeBron James at number 2 and put Kobe in at 11? If you talk to most LeBron fans, it's when LeBron said it himself at the Uninterrupted show that Bleacher's Report distributes. He said the 2016 championship, him coming back from a 3-1 deficit and winning a championship in Game 7 on the road, is why he became the greatest player of all time. That is the argument that people would like to use. They say that, oh, he jumped from 11 to 2 because of 2016. Why? Because he said it? Because it was something that never been done before? Okay, it's never been done before because the tier and the expectations of it has never been crossed. But if you're supposed to be the greatest of all time or the second greatest of all time, why did you have to fall down 3-1 to catch up in the first place? Winners win. Great players don't put that kind of pressure on their teammates to come back. So you coming back had a lot of things had to play in the factor of you coming back 3-1. The biggest one was Draymond Green being suspended for kicking him and for low blowing him, practically kicking him in his nuts. Yeah, so them losing Draymond Green was a emotional blow to the Golden State Warriors. And then you had Kyrie Irving hit that timely 3 at the end to seal the game. But what everybody remembers of that 2016 playoff run was that chase behind block on Andre Iguodala. That they go back and replay that moment and preach that moment. That was the turning point of the momentum swinging again towards the Cavaliers, and the Cavaliers winning. Yeah, it was part of it, but it was not the moment. The moment that sealed the Cavaliers winning that 2016 championship was when Kyrie Irving went one-on-one with Steph Curry and shot a three-pointer cold dead in his face. But nobody talks about that because it's Kyrie Irving. And LeBron James, aside of all his other teammates, LeBron James likes to throw his teammates under the bus. Doesn't really look out for them. Doesn't really put them in the pedestal to be talked about in the same plateau. So LeBron doesn't have his back. He doesn't say certain things to elevate this guy because it'll downgrade these players to prop up LeBron James to the top. And that's pretty much what this is. It's all about elevation and trying to deteriorate players below to prop up LeBron. Like Dreamers Pro said, they tried to do it with Michael Jordan, but there's no flaw. There's no flaws on Michael Jordan's game. People reach so hard to the point of trying to validate the 40,000 points that LeBron is the best over Michael Jordan. When Michael Jordan came out before that and said that he wasn't worried about scoring, if statistics was a point of emphasis for him, he would have played longer and he would have chased Kareem's 40,000 points. In other words, he would have had that record by now if he wanted to. It would have been a record that LeBron James probably couldn't have been able to catch up to. And they made sure that he could catch up to it because of how they've relaxed the rules of the game. But the man, Michael Jordan himself, said that he wasn't worried about statistics. If he was, he would have went after Kareem's record. But what mattered to him was winning. Winning equals championship. Championships produce hardware. And the hardware is what everybody plays for. So when LeBron and his team see that he couldn't diminish that fact, he's like, all right, if I can't be the GOAT, then I'm gonna be next to the GOAT. So, but the rightful place of next to the GOAT is Kobe Bryant, because arguably could be Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson, Akeem, Kareem, Russell, Bill Russell, you name it, Wilt Chamberlain. There's so many other players that you could put next to the GOAT. But everyone has their argument and everybody has their list and opinions. But the travesty of putting LeBron James number 2 and putting Kobe number 11, and now knowing the information that we know that LeBron is in cahoots with Bleacher's report, then that right there should let you know that the media credibility that we're used to knowing is losing their credibility, and they're selling their souls for a check, for props, for whatever it is. And for me, I really don't care. I love this. This is, for me, this is I don't want to say a hobby, but this is fun for me because I like to talk about sports. All my life, I grew up talking about sports with friends, families, relatives, strangers. So when I realized that I can create a platform based on talking about sports, I said, why not? But to know that the resources that we've been consuming are the resources that we've been consuming our information from, now you have to draw a question mark on how resourceful they really are. Is it based on actual factual situations that occurred? Are we painting agendas, writing agendas, creating agendas, to wordplay a storyline that never existed? When you get to that point and you're exposed the way you're exposed, now you're laughed at. You're a joke. And Bleacher's Report, that list made y'all a joke. The person that made that list over there should be fired. Straight up fired, because he failed to do his research. They failed to realize that before you put a asinine list like that out there, make sure that you don't have anything propping up the person that you're trashing years prior, because the internet doesn't forget. No matter if you're deleted or not, it's always in the cloud. Somebody's gonna screenshot it, and somebody's gonna keep it, and somebody's gonna refer it, and somebody's gonna research it, and somebody's gonna catch you lying, catch you slipping, and you're gonna have your foot up your mouth. And shout out to all the independent creators that's made videos debunking this stupid narrative. Too Raw for TV, Ticket TV, Dreamers Pro, Uncommon Sense, Man Down Sports, 7-8 Sports. You guys are part of the reason why we're able to come in and give the audience the truth of what really happened by the eye vision, about what really happened, and not fall for the stories that never happened. Them putting Kobe Bryant 11th of all time should have never happened, but now we know why. So you lose credibility, and Bleacher's Report is one of many that's gonna fall down pretty much. Give it another 5 years. Give it another 5 years. The consumption of sports is coming this way, baby. We are the new ones. We are the future, because we're gonna keep it real. We're gonna keep it funky, and we're going to keep it 100% factual. These are the facts of what happened. And there's too much data, and there's too much people pushing back of the crap that these people are putting out there, saying that this player is not this to prop up another player. At the end of the day, money buys a lot of BS. But money could never buy the actual factuals, the reality base. There's a lot of people that will sell out, but there's a lot of people that won't, and I'm one of those that won't sell out. Money is not everything. Money helps things grow, but money is not everything. When it comes to integrity, when it comes to loyalty, and when it comes to facts, I stand on the facts. I stand on what I saw and what exists. And you're getting this from a person that was not a Kobe Bryant fan. But as a fan of this, man, I'm trying to get it out without cussing. But as a fan of the game, you damn right I'm gonna stand up for what the integrity of the game is. Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, has done a horrible job managing the archives of this sport, because it's the archives of this sport is what made this sport what it is. And the fact you're not preserving it, and you're diminishing it for the future that's coming up right now, you're tarnishing a game that was built off blood, sweat, competition. And now these players that are benefiting from the fruits and the labors of these older players, for them to not get the props correctly is a travesty to this game, and it starts with the commissioner. The commissioner, bring it. I mean, I don't know, man. You know, a lot of people are selling out to this whole LeBron propping up propaganda, but we're not falling for it. We're not laying down for it. So that's my opinion. I know this video went a little bit longer than I expected, but you know what? I had to get it out my chest. I had to get it off my chest, because I'm always going to defend the game. The game has been a great topic of discussion for me in life, and now the game is potentially going to help me build an empire, and I'm going to make sure that the integrity of it stays firm. And each time some of you guys that have misinformation that come in and spew the garbage that y'all doing, like Bleacher's Report just did, all you're going to do is give me ammo to grow, and give us ammo to grow. The media space, the independent media space, you're giving us ammo to grow, because we're here and we're going to debunk every nonsense propagandic story that you're going to put out there, and you're just going to give us a reason to talk. That's just me and mine. Take it how you like it. Comment section is wide open. Let me know how you feel about it. Like, share, subscribe to the show. Thank you very much for your time. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the WD Sports Lounge signing off. Y'all take care.